those of you who are hungover from all the leftovers of the holidays, as well as my true non-university unstudents, welcome to the Uncensored Unprofessor. Happy New Year! For me, 2019 blitzed by like a laser beam, which means for me it was a great year. So I thought I would do a UU year in review, mostly just for funsies. The other day I drove by a small town Idaho burger stand. They had an orange gaslit sign out front, "Best burgers in the world." Now, when I see signs like that in the middle of some little town, because even if they have a Juilliard-trained chef seasoning their Kobe steak burgers, right? They just don't have enough foot traffic to be voted best burgers in the world. I see those signs and I privately guffaw, chuckle to myself. But then it got me thinking, at least they're trying. Me? I don't promote my show enough. It's not my strong suit. I don't want to seem pushy. But in light of all those daring little burger joint owners, welcome to the #1 voted podcast in the world, hosted by a PhD in the history of theology with the last 4 letters CZYK. You didn't know how unique this really was, did you? Okay, worst movie of 2019. Glass. After how amazingly creepy and gripping Shyamalan's Split was, Glass was a bust. Yes, it had a stellar cast, Bruce Willis, Samuel L. Jackson, James McAvoy, but it just fell face flat. Felt far too much like a "we can make a kajillion dollars if we roll out a sequel" kind of movie. In fact, I gotta tell you, I'm toast on sequels much. With only a few exceptions, the original Star Wars movies. Are they as good as the original? The best movie I saw of 2019? Ford versus Ferrari. I reviewed that for my frankincense and myrrh members. It was cool how much they helped you feel what it was like to race inside a muscle car. And then 2 close seconds for me were Bohemian Rhapsody, mostly because I relish seeing Queen's music performed again, and Hotel Mumbai. My deep respect goes to those guys for their portrayal of the 2008 terrorist attack, just heartless. And they show how men can commit unspeakable evil with no apparent malice in their hearts. One film that I wished I had seen, Arctic. Let me know what your own favorite movie of 2019 was, or tell me what you thought of the movie Arctic. You can do that on Facebook, PM me, or contact me through email at uncensoredunprofessor@gmail.com. This year's top-rated UU series, my 14-part Who is Jesus series, where I explored things like, was he a feminist? Did he oppose wealth? Did he exhibit toxic masculinity? Why did he do miracles? I'm delighted that people still want to learn about the King. My 2019 top-rated UU single episode, it was from my Why is the Church Sick series, episode 103, entitled What We Worship. My thanks to any and every one of you who listened to that rather painful episode. Although, wait, that may be the episode where you tune me out once and for all. And if that's the case, thanks for listening today. My least downloaded UU single episode of 2019 was number 122, the 3rd episode in my Christian Graces series, Ambiguity, We Hate Uncertainty. That it was the least downloaded episode proved my very point. We hate uncertainty. So much that we don't want to entertain any nuance about uncertainty. Oh, the delicious irony. The most important discovery of 2019 was the first ever image of a black hole in space. Now, this was taken in April by the Event Horizon Telescope. You may not know that that same telescope can also be privately rented to probe for hidden ear and nose hair, but at $10,000 an hour, it's an expensive way to prune yourself. Now, and you're not going to believe this, but the telescope image of that black hole shows that the center of a black hole is, well, black. My own personal favorite discovery of 2019? Maybe you saw this on Facebook, but I'm slowly becoming a bit of a birder. Well, at least during the winter months. I put out a bird feeder and a couple of suet cages, and I keep my binoculars by the kitchen window where, when I'm doing the dishes, I watch the different birdies come and go. Don't fall, birdies. This year I can't say I discovered, but for the first time in my life I spotted a pair of northern red-shafted flickers. They act like woodpeckers, but they rather look like big gray and red, orange underwinged robins. I'm hoping the presence of my suet cages keeps them and their babies around for coming years. They're beautiful birds. The best television show of 2019 was the Nationals beating the Astros in the World Series. 7 games in a row where the visiting team won? Are you kidding me? That's never happened before in history. Amazing. Surprising. Second place for me was Kevin Costner's series Yellowstone. It had enough layers to keep me interested. And I gotta tell you, I hardly watch regular TV shows anymore. Although, for the last 5 months or so, I have been into Jeopardy! And now, the host of Jeopardy!, Alex Trebek. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I blame Dennis and Barbara for getting me hooked on Jeopardy! The worst television show of 2019? Oh, goodness, honestly, I just don't watch enough TV shows to pick one and offend the millions of you listening today. I guess I'd say any reality TV show. They're so phony, which is not just a little ironic given that they're called reality shows. Here's some major global news from the 12 months across 2019. January, Austria legalized same-sex marriage, and Europe's steady flight out of a Christian worldview continued at a breakneck pace. And it looks like the German Catholic Church may be getting ready to break from the church in Rome. That would be really sad and amazing and explosive. February, Pope Francis visited the United Arab Emirates and became the first pope ever to set foot on the Arabian Peninsula. And you guys, even though this pope makes me nervous, I'm grateful for Christians who want to build roads of peace to and with other religions. March, a Boeing 737 crashed out of Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, killing all 157 people. Merciful God. April, Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, which was then under construction, caught fire. The main roof and the 750-ton spire all collapsed. I saw that burning on television pictures. I was so sad. And then it was weird for me to hear evangelicals say, so what? May, the nation of Venezuela continued to collapse as prison rioting left 29 prisoners dead and 19 guards injured. Poor Venezuela. June, more than 1 million people protested the new Chinese extradition laws in Hong Kong. And protests have continued through the year. It's amazing to watch those protesters singing Christian worship songs, holding American flags. They need, Lord bless them and help them and keep them somewhat free over there. July. The International Atomic Energy Agency confirmed that Iran had breached the limit on its stockpile of enriched uranium. They are clearly preparing to build nuclear weapons. Lord have mercy, Christ have mercy. August. August saw chunks of the Amazon rainforest burn down south in Brazil. Smoke from those fires reached Sao Paulo, 1,700 miles away. September. Hurricane Dorian blasted through the Bahamas with wind speeds of 185 miles per hour. I can't even imagine. As a kid, growing up, my mom lived on the Oregon coast, and my brothers and I went out on the beach in heavy raincoats and rain gear one day when it was blowing 80 and 90 miles an hour. You could lean over and the wind would hold you up. I can't imagine 185 mile an hour wind. In the Bahamas, over 70 were killed and $3.4 billion worth of damage was caused. In October, U.S. Special Forces killed the leader of ISIS, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, and a dog, a Belgian Malinois dog named Conan, became famous for his efforts in that raid. In November, Amnesty International says that Bangladesh murdered 466 people back in 2018 under the guise of an anti-drug campaign. It appears to have been a wave of illegal government executions, proving again for the 18,000,003 time why governments must have checks and balances. December. A United Kingdom general election saw the Conservative Party win 48 new seats. It was the biggest win for Conservatives in the UK since the 1980s. Brexit was not only reaffirmed, it was done so in a shocking landslide. And I want to thank Wikipedia for that list of international news. And the biggest news story here in the United States? The impeachment of Donald Trump. The official vote occurred just a couple weeks ago in December, but the process took, 3 years? Shnikes, what a mess. Anger, accusations, lying, public shaming in all directions about Trump, from Trump. The whole disaster has further divided friends and divided family. It's grievously wounded our country. And it's a tell to me that the target, the basketball hoop, moved all across those 3 years, which makes the final outcome suspicious. If Trump's character is at issue, and surely it is, the character of those using power to impeach the president is more so. That the basketball hoop moved over and over and over goes against the Christian teaching that those with power use it with humility and wisdom and integrity. When the red laser target keeps moving, it's not the prey whose character is at issue, but the predator. President Trump's a manipulative lout? Yep, like 400 other politicians in Washington, D.C., but they're not being impeached. Oh, don't you wish we could impeach 600 of them all at once? Look, we know there were people in power in the FBI who wanted Trump impeached mere days after his election. We have them on record. It's possible that some of them may go to jail. And then the basketball hoop kept changing. For the first few weeks of his presidency, his opponents wanted to impeach him on the basis of the 25th Amendment, an amendment to deal with incapacitated, say from surgery, a situation where the president's incapacitated. Who talks about the 25th Amendment today? You got it, Watson. No one. Because the red laser kept moving. Then for a year they wanted to impeach Trump because he was, they told us daily, a Russian puppet spy. But Russia's not in the final articles of impeachment. Then for another year, we were told it's going to be the Mueller report. The Mueller report. That is going to finally hang him. Nope, the Mueller report's not in the articles of impeachment. Then it was obstruction of justice. Nope, that's not in the final two articles. Then they said he needs to be impeached because of Ukraine. Okay, they finally landed on that. Ukraine and Trump's refusal to testify, or his staff not testifying before Congress, so that's contempt of Congress. But contempt of Congress is something every president across my lifetime has been accused of. Reagan, the Bushes, Clinton, Obama, they all showed contempt for Congress. So the final two articles, the final two reasons Trump is being impeached by the House, because the Senate is not going to flip, they're not going to flip 20 Republicans, follow suit there. The final two reasons that he's being impeached, number one, abuse of power, and number two, obstruction of justice. And number two, obstruction of Congress. And it's all too flim-flammy for me. He's been hated for 3 years. Now he's impeached. Hating someone is not ground for impeachment. And all of that doesn't even touch upon that the Democrats didn't allow the Republicans to call a single witness of their own in the process. It's just very unseemly. Is Trump belligerent? Sure. Is he nasty? Yep. Is he hard to work for? Man, given his staff turnover rate, it sure looks like it. Is he hard to work with? Absolutely. Does he fight back? Unlike all the former presidents of my lifetime, when the media and his opponents attack him, unquestionably, I've never seen a president fight back like this. Is any of that grounds for impeachment? No. And the result of this impeachment will be a deep and abiding gash in the collective consciousness of our country, whether you're on the right or on the left. Deep gash. Very sad. And I believe this will have a deeper effect on America's collective consciousness, cause deeper cynicism about government, even more than the legitimate removal of Richard Nixon did back in the early 1970s. On the UU podcast front, I was delighted to have 22 new patrons sign up to support me at Patreon. 22 new friends on the UU team. Why don't you consider joining the team? I'd love to get my first international patron. Hey, Jerry, over there in Singapore, make a UU Mer pledge. My favorite read of 2019, The Coddling of the American Mind by Jonathan Haidt and Greg Lukianoff. I used it for a short series on safetyism in my podcast. More than any other read in the last 5 years, it helped me understand our current cultural shift. It helped me to better understand the increasingly diseased, sad college environment. A close second excellent book, Explaining Postmodernism, Skepticism, and Socialism from Rousseau to Foucault by Professor Stephen Hicks. Now, I've been studying, lecturing on postmodernism for 17 years, and his book was the first to explain postmodernism in light of its political derivatives. He showed how it has a gnawing hunger for political power. It was a rather terrifying read, but it was illuminating. He showed me that postmodernism is really powerism. The worst thing I read in 2019? Where do I begin? How about the posts of Facebook trolls? People, get a life. What about college in 2019? Well, demographers tell us that more college students are depressed than ever. There is such a deep need for counselors. The schools can't hire enough counselors to help depressed students. To me, that's so sad. Because college for me was one of the most exciting, invigorating, thrilling, satisfying eras of my life. I made new, lifelong friends. I encountered new ideas. I experienced massive realizations and insights about human nature and human history. I enjoyed laughter, intellectual growth, growth in my faith. It was such a great time. So, why are all these college students today so depressed? Well, clearly, demographers tell us they're depressed before they get to college, and then college only sucks them down further into the quicksand, depression. Yeah, they have friends on social media, but apparently, not deep friendships in everyday life. They're jammed up by an empty culture, and so they give up on belief in the goodness of their nation, or belief in God, or love of their families, and too many of them are, for cultural zeitgeist, God of this age reasons, a shambles. And as I've said repeatedly in my podcasts, they no longer believe in truth. So what's there to live for? Making money? Okay, for a while that'll satisfy, but that'll eventually prove despairing too. What's left? A career? Okay, yeah, go and do and be something significant, but most career paths do not lend themselves to relationship building or encounters with transcendence or celebrating goodness, the kind of things that satisfy the human self. So, yeah, a culture of emptiness and nothingness has done exactly what it set out to do: implant emptiness and nothingness, ennui, boredom in college students' souls. Man, me, I hunger for more. And with my family and love of country and my deep religious faith, I lead a very satisfying life. What was the highest grossing music tour of 2019? Pink. She's the award winner. She held 68 performances in the United States and Europe and hauled in a gross total of $215 million. Second place went to Sir Elton John with $212 million. And third place to Eddie Sheeran, $211.7 million. Oh, by the way, you guys, for funsies, Pink made a gross of $3.6 million per venue she played. All of that's per Polestar.com. 2019 for me? Thank you, Lord, for every breath I got to breathe in 2019. Thank you for every yummy meal, every good night's sleep, time I got to spend with my father and mother, every wag of my dog Bindy's tail. Thank you for new friends, Lord. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for daily beauty and time with my granddaughter. Thank you for the freedoms I enjoy here in America. Thank you for devout Christians, those who place Christ at the very center of their identity and lifestyles. Well, you guys, there you have it, a UU review of 2019. Oh, please, turn your beautiful, prayerful brains on, everybody, and a glorious new year to you all.